rise and what we need to do better to address this issue. I am waiting for some other panelists to join in, but we're so lucky to have on board with us tonight Joie Sophie, who's from Rwanda in East Africa. Joie Sophie, welcome on board.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and I'm so excited to join this conversation for today. Thank you so much.
That's excellent. So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Mahmooda and I'm based in Zimbabwe, which is in Southern Africa. And I am your hostess for this evening. Josephine, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you came to work in this mental health arena while we wait for the other panelists to join us.
Thank you so much. My name is, she said, my name is Joa Sophie Mohoza, and I'm from Rwanda. Currently, I'm a student in the University of Rwanda in Department of Mental Health Nursing. I'm in year 2. I left 1 year to go, and I'm a mental health advocate plus digital enthusiast, and even I'm working in research programs. I'm so excited to be in programs that focus on research about mental health and climate change. Thank you. I think there is more. And I'm a youth. I'm a 22 years old, and I'm a female as well. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I think, given that background, you're actually quite the perfect person I should be speaking to tonight because we're talking about student mental health. You yourself are in the second year. You obviously in the university come college space. And you're obviously very aware of what's going on the ground in the student spaces around the issues to do with mental health, wellness, as well as the challenges the youth are facing. What have you noticed on the ground, Joa Sophie? Why is this such an important topic for us to discuss tonight?
Okay, thank you again. I think this topic is a more interesting between the students, mainly university students, because many of students nowadays are facing a mental health challenge because there is some pressures, academic pressures, social media pressures, and fear of missing out. This is so many things that come out with student in university that make them or being on mental health challenge. So I think this topic will be interesting and will be more good to focus on it and explore it more about it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I just want to get an understanding, what are we calling, what is this, what is mental health in your opinion, Josephine? What do you think about this from your studies, from your observations? What is mental health?
Okay, dear moderator, allow me first of all to talk about what is mental health. That was defined by World Health Organization in 2001. World Health Organization in 2001 has posted about what is mental health, and it stated that is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and productively, and is able to work to make a contribution to his or her community, but not merely in absence of infirmities or mental health illness. And on my opinion is like somehow connected with this definition that produced by published by mental World Health Organization, and in my opinion is like is a state of physically well-being, emotional well-being, and in which the individual has ability to cope with the normal stresses of life. We know that everyone had faced a stress, but the way of coping with it, the coping strategy we use is different. So the ability to cope with normal stresses of life and to work productively and fruitfully in the community without a further impairment in social or occupation is like a mental health. I think that is what I can say about mental health.
Yeah, I think you absolutely nailed it, and I'm quite excited to see where your journey will take you. I know you're in year 2 now, but it's patently obvious that you're very keen about your studies, and you're absolutely right that mental health, it includes our emotional, social, and psychological well-being. Um, when you look at the student space right now, uh, do you see or do you notice any signs? How do you identify signs of struggle? How do you know that somebody is struggling with their mental health? What have you seen?
Okay, I think there are many signs and symptoms that can show that someone is facing a mental health challenge or mental health illness. Uh, some starts in early age and adult continue into adult, or some start at adulthood continue to elderhood. So, but there is a signs that can show that someone is facing a mental illness. First, change in sleep. Someone can sleep more or less, and this can indicate the sign of mental illness. And other is change in appetite. Someone, but other it's very slow. And this we know that many mental health illness is connected with change in appetite and change in sleep, and these signs can show mental illness. And other is difficult in concentration. Someone who is struggling with mental health can lack a concentration in something that he is or she is doing. Other is excessive worry. Everyone has worries, but the ability to cope to manage those worries is different. So someone can have excessive worries and or anxiety. Someone can engage in maladaptive behaviors. What many of my students, they are facing this challenge of uh, engaging in maladaptive behaviors such as substance abuse in order to manage stress, in order to manage burnout. But is not a good way to manage these stresses or burnouts. And someone can have the persistent sadness or mood changes. You see, everyone has bad days and good days, but some can have persistent sadness and changing moods. And other students can have withdraw from activity or social interaction. Many things that she or he enjoyed to do can withdraw from it. And that the thought of self-harm or suicide, which is a strong sign of mental health illness. I think that is all about signs of mental illness.
You're absolutely on point. A lot of the stuff that you've highlighted there are definitely things, we do see them as well in adults, but our focus tonight really is on the students. And that mental health affects students' ability to learn in school. You pointed that out. It affects their academic achievements, the ability to perform in class, the ability to build positive relationships. It affects their physical health, and you also touched around the area of stresses. So stress management becomes a very important and very key area in helping students to really manage the mental illness. Last year, the American Academy of Pediatrics and two other child health institutions joined in declaring that child and adolescent mental health is a national emergency. This means that we have to understand that student mental health right now is more critical than ever. I also noticed around that things are really different. When people grew up in the 60s and 70s, there was this real good sense of community, and children were allowed to be children. There was no social media. No one could take pictures of the children being naughty and use the stuff. Now with social media and all the access to technology, I feel that when youth are going through the motions of being young, even as college students, you've got the students that tend, you spoke about maladaptive behaviors, the drinking, the drugs, all the rest of it that comes with that. These days, it's so easy for friends to snap an image and put it on social media, and all the pressure around that. Is this something that you've seen going on in Rwanda in particular? Have you heard reports or incidents of what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it is. And in my student university, some of us or many of us, they are facing a problem in relationship, building a relationship, trust relationship with others, because they are lacking a trust in their peers and between their parents, according to his or her understanding. So it's like a common one that I can say about many students nowadays are facing. And other is like lack of concentration in their studies, because we know that nowadays our financial stress is on the top. So this problem makes students lack concentration in their studies, and this lack of concentration in their studies increases their mental health illness or challenge to focus on the stress management that can lead to burnout or other anxieties disorders. And about the maladaptive behaviors, we know a peer pressure. Peer pressure is something that come into young age, teenagers, and youth. So many students can engage in peer pressures, which can lead to maladaptive behavior. I think that is an overview about student universities in Rwanda.
Hmm. From your experience, do you find that these colleges and universities, do they offer support around mental health, wellness, well, mental health care? Is there any support system around that? Are there counseling services that students can access? What are you finding? What facilities are available in colleges, universities, and schools to support students?
Yeah, for sure. Nowadays, our mental health is starting to be on under top list, because we see that mental health, it's mind matters. It matters a lot, because when mental or mind is affected, whole body is generally affected. So colleges and campuses are focusing on uploading mental health apps, which can facilitate our students. And again, they are focusing on building consultation rooms where the student can open up to their trusted mentors, trusted therapist, trusted counselor, so they can discuss about the mental health. And there's other many universities, they are starting initiatives, campaigns that can help the student to get engaged in the mental health programs, online campaigns, on-site campaigns, so that a student can engage on those activities, so they can gain a health education awareness about mental health. Other, they are just building support groups in university campuses. There are support groups where they consider to join a support group that focus on mental health and connecting with others who may be experiencing a similar challenge, that can provide a sense of community and understanding of mental health issues. And there are many online resources that help a part of campuses, a part of colleges. There are many online sources that help a student, like GYMHA is one of many online resources that can help a student to cope with some mental health issues. Others are like mental health foundations or other local community organization that focus on mental health. So it's a pleasure to students to focus on their mental health by focusing on those resources that can help students to know their mental health well-being. Thank you.
Josephine, you're so well informed. You speak now about GYMHA, and I'm so glad you found GYMHA and you've come on board and you're able to give these talks to encourage your peers as well to get involved in such programs as these, because there are definitely very good benefits um, around maintaining good mental health in students. Can you tell me what some of the benefits, in your opinion, what are the benefits of good mental health in students?
Okay. Yeah, thank you again. There are a lot of benefits of mental health well-being, mainly for me as a student. First of all, a good mental health help in concentrating in your studies, because we want to achieve a better future. We want to succeed, to have a high grades. So while you have not having a concentration in your studies, it's a problem. So it can lead to stresses and burnout. So it's a good mental health have benefit on increasing concentration and allow you to be like free and concentrate on your studies. And other benefit of mental health is like help you to explore more, just know yourself, what you do like to do in your free time, what most do you enjoy. So it's being yourself, know yourself, and engage in activity that can help you to be like more comfortable and more supernatural in ways of success. So it's like good mental health help to know yourself and be you as well. And the benefit of mental health, it's like help you to engage in more activities that have a benefit for your life. Like we know that someone who has mental health issues lack some ability to cope with stresses, engage in new activities, concentrating, having creativity and innovation. So while you have a good mental health, help you to create innovation in your daily life, which can foster your future and help you to be creator in something, engage in different activities that can help your future in planned areas. So it's a crucial role to have a good mental health, because you can benefit more than what I have said, but you can be you as you, not anyone. Thank you.
You're absolutely right. Those are some of the benefits around good mental health. And you spoke on students, becoming more innovative. So yeah, definitely, you see, students are definitely more productive and motivated to pursue their academic goals. Students can also recognize everyday stresses and handle it in a healthy way. Uh, Good mental health will also result in students feeling better about themselves and their capabilities and abilities. Students become more engaged in learning and they participate much better in the classroom. We also know that students will be engaged in learning and will be giving positive contributions within their classroom. They're able to form positive connections, keep great friendships, collaborate with their peers, and also form relationships with teachers, coaches, and administrators that will help them along these student pathways. We also see improved physical health benefits, where students then have healthy sleep, healthy nutrition, good exercise, and lifestyle habits. And these are all results of good mental health. Finally, also, we see life satisfaction improving, students being proud of their accomplishments and very motivated to pursue um, other interests. So, you're absolutely right. So, I just want to talk a little bit now about coping strategies. When you're struggling, you as a student, Shra Sophie, you obviously get these moments where you're quite stressed or there's a lot going on in your world. How do you cope with stress as a student?
Thank you so much again. And as I'm student, every student met with a stress, academic pressures, expectation, feeling expectation from peers and parents. So, but there are some coping strategies that I use every day. First is like self care. We know that engage in activities that promote physical, emotional, and mental well-being, such as like exercises, as you said, adequate sleep, health eating, and relaxation techniques like deep breathing and meditation help to relieve stress. So it's a first step that I take to in order to manage stress because uh, the statement that I say, I can paraphrase it. The the first counselor or therapist of of someone is himself. So if you want to be helped, you have it to be your own therapist. So just first of all, I have to take care of myself, engaging in those activities, adequate sleep, health, eating, exercises, and relaxation techniques. And that is like when I have like strong stresses, if I can say, I open up to my trusted friends. And because those friends are nearby me, so I get open up, talk to my friends about my problems because they can help me to overcome those stresses and searching a solution. And where it is not well overcome, I reach out to my family and like family members and other mentors because there's a strong connection between a student and family. So I engage in have conversation with my family member and talk about my challenging times so they can help me to relieve those stress. And others, it's like setting a boundaries because we have to learn to say no. When I'm facing stresses, I used to say that I'm not able, I can't do it, I can't overcome it, and those those thoughts engage in my mind and they have changed me a lot. But after realizing that, I have started to talk about no. I have ability. I have. I'm comfortable. I'm confident. I can do this. I can do this. Because when you have those strong motivation speech on by your side, you can overcome more and more. So you have to say no and prioritize our own needs because everyone have needs. But prioritizing my needs have helped me to overcome a stress. Others is like replace my negative coping strategies like avoiding uh, searching those health alternatives such as spending much time on bed, thinking a lot of time talking on myself. But I used to take what I want to do and what makes me happy so I can gauge it to overcome a stress. So there are many things that I can say I have used to overcome stresses, but first of all, when you see that the stresses is not well overcome, you have to seek a professional help, like reaching out to mental health professionals. They're around, and there are clinics that help mental health, that overcome help to overcome mental health issues. So we have to engage on those treatment and intervention to rule out what a problem is. So I think that is what I'm using before I can take a step to seeking a professional help. Thank you so much.
As always, always on point. I love how even though you shared what you do to cope with your own stresses, you were also quite, you emphasized the need to reach out to professionals, if you cannot cope. And I love how you touch also about, not resorting to negative coping strategies, stuff like drinking, taking drugs, and that sort of thing. It's never going to help you. It's a short term fix, but it's not going to fix the problem. So, Joie-Sophie, you're 100% correct. Reach out and seek professional help when you feel you cannot cope, or when you find that you're relying now on negative coping strategies, because there are other positive coping strategies, things that are more beneficial to you, like maybe listening to music, yoga, meditation, prayer, hanging out with good friends. But 100%, I agree with you. And if somebody does need help and you don't know where to go, we are here at GYMHA to help you. If it means we need to link you up with resources that are closer to your own situation, GYMHA is always ready to speak to anybody who needs that attention. According to the American Psychiatric Association, 50% of mental illness begins by the age of 14, and three-quarters begins by the age of 24. And that is quite a scary statistic. But for most people who develop a mental health disorder, symptoms start while they are still in school. So the sooner that a mental health concern is found and treated, the better for the student. Left untreated, mental health disorders will only get worse. They can last throughout a student's school years and also into adulthood, which is exactly what Joie-Sophie said earlier on. So, Joie-Sophie, apart from reaching out, you as a person who has other friends in college, you've had friends in school, when you've seen your friends struggling, how do you help them personally? Is this something you can do as a fellow student? Can you actually help your peers?
Yeah, it is because before anyone can see that your fellow student have a mental health issues, nearby students, they are first to see that their characters, their behavior have changed. So what I used to do is like creating a supportive environment to help my peers, because the when someone is facing a mental health issues, they need a unjudgmental environment. So like they need to build a trust and supportive environment to overcome those stresses, because when he can talk to someone and judge his thoughts, it can be harmful for his life. So I used to create a supportive environment, create a safe environment, so that he or she can open up to me and say about his mental health issues. And the other is like mesh, fa- asking a consent of telling his or her friend while the problem is just being like cloud being strong. So because you can tell his or her family why he is not willing to tell his family members, so it can be harmful for his mental health well-being. So I used to ask consent before talking to his family, talking to his mentors and our lecturers. So uh, after asking a consent, I started to to consult a mental health professionals, because nowadays mental health is like being on high. So I'm searching a counselor, therapist, psychologist, and psychiatrist is a good way to help your fellowship students. So I used to consult a mental health professionals, and I, I was one day I was having a student like that who is facing a stresses. So I have created like telling her that there are online resources that you can search and search how to overcome a stress, how to be like you in your time, because hard time is there. Everyone is experiencing hard time, bad time is there, but you have to cope with it, because you don't have to be like over surrounded with our negativity. So you have to create a positive thoughts. So I used to tell her that there is online sources, as we mentioned, the GYMHA is one of them, and other resources you can reach out with your ability, with what you want to talk, and or how you want to talk, and what you want to learn. So you have to reach out. So other things that I use is like there around environment, that stigma that is still there, and you have to reduce this stigma between our students, because we know that mental health, to talk about mental health is still an issue. So I have helped her to 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 engage in campaigns, so that he or she can get a help, because there is mental health awareness campaigns that are realizing, so everyone who need the help can reach out and get those help. So that is what I used to do, and I think it's helpful. And if you believe in God, just have to tell him keep praying, because praying is like one of therapy that we use nowadays. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely right. Thanks also for sharing, that personal story. It's amazing, and it's always encouraging to find that there are young people that are really interested in this space around mental health wellness. So, firstly, I commend you. I think it's amazing that you are actively involved and you are taking it on personally to actually reach out and help those students that need the assistance. I also know that, some student populations have greater mental health needs than others. Others may be at higher risk for developing a mental health disorder, or they have less access to mental health services. What we do know is that schools can deliver mental health services or resources to the students who need it the most. And this does help the students to stay in school and stay engaged in learning. In my research, when I was looking around the area of which students are actually most vulnerable, which are the students with the greatest mental health needs, I found that these are students who are experiencing homelessness or food insecurity, students who maybe identify with key populations, that's students within the LGBTQ populations, um, students who maybe are struggling with languages. Maybe you're in a college that um, teachers in English and your English is not your first language. So those students will also find it much harder to cope in class. Students with disabilities and students in minority groupings are definitely amongst the people with the greatest mental health needs in schools and colleges. Josephine, from your experience in school, is this something, do you recognize that there are certain types of students who are actually at greater risk of suffering from stresses and depressions and issues around mental health illness?
Yeah, there is some students that have faced a problem of losing parents, and losing their closer friends are also at high risk of developing those depression or another things that are related to mental health issues. And the students that nowadays facing a violence, because violence, cyberbullying are still there. So students that face those challenges of violence and cyberbullying are at higher risk of developing a mental health illness. And as students, we know that financial stress is like a problem. It's not like but is a problem. So because uh, many students experience financial pressures, including tuition fees, student loans, and the cost of living. So some students who are facing those challenges at higher risk are also at higher risk of developing a mental health illness. And we know that we are in digital world. So student who see his fellow engaging in activities or events that are not invited to, this leading to loneliness and exclusion, fear of missing out. The students who are on that pressure of missing out are at a high risk of developing a mental health illness. And students who have genetic factors that are related with the mental health illness, who have parents or other family members who have a mental illness are at high risk again of developing mental health illness, while they are lacking a coping strategies. Is not absolutely 100%, but addition to environmental factors, social factors, psychological factor are at high risk of developing those mental health illness. So I think uh, about my research, it's what I can add. I can add what you have said is true, and adding those what I have mentioned, it's like something that help a student on being on pressure on being on mental health illness platform. I can say so. Thank you.
Absolutely. And it's really important as practitioners or people working in this space to actually speak to students, because it's easy for adults to try and apply their knowledge, but when you're talking to youth, because things change from generation to generation, so it's always important to engage the youth and the students when we are talking about these topics. And this is why I'm so happy to have you on board, Josephine. I know you're carrying this whole interview on your own. You're doing an amazing job, young lady. I want to encourage you and thank you for your contributions. We're not quite at the end of it. I've still got one or two questions left for you. But we want to talk now a little bit about, you touched on the stigma very briefly, but there is a stigma around it, and there's a lot of myths and misinformation around the area of mental health. And some of these, sometimes or in some cultures, people believe that children or young people don't have mental health disorders. Some people will even go so far as to say mental illness is a choice, and others will even go as far as saying medication doesn't help you when you've got a mental disorder. What are your thoughts around misinformation and the stigmas around mental health? Because I believe that this misinformation, these myths, are not only false, but they're actually quite dangerous for students. What are your thoughts, Josephine?
Thank you again for this opportunity to speak again. And about the stigma, first of all, I can say mental health, just treatment for mental health is not just one single dose. It's like biopsychosocial approach. So we took those biological approach like treatments. We talk psychological approach like a counseling, psychotherapy, different psychotherapy. So, and we take about social factors that can be advocating for those student or anyone who is facing a mental health illness. So it's not just a single dose of a treatment. It's like a combination of those biological, psychological, and social, by psychosocial holistic approach. So it's necessary to help them to trust, not only for treatment but also for those psychological approach and social approach. So I thought my thought about stigma, it's like promoting and understanding support for individuals dealing with mental health. Have there's some strategies that we can use, like providing accurate information about mental health through educational programs. So we have to, it's like a recommendation in a curriculum of students. They can add those mental health programs so they can encourage everyone to be aware about their mental health well-being and engage in different education. And other is like engaging in workshops and awareness campaigns that can help like dispel myths and misconceptions. So because those misinformation, those misinterpretation of mental health is still around, so we have to engage in workshops, awareness campaigns, so that those myths and those misconceptions can be reduced. And so it like encourage open and host conversation about mental health in various settings, like including schools, workshops, and communities. Normally, I discuss about mental health, well-being, emotions, and seeking help when needed. So, including those programs, those open conversation, those staffs to help a student to normalize and get information about mental health. It's like again, we have to address and challenge stereotypes and stigmatizing language related to mental health with encouraging respectful and empathetic languages that promote understanding and support individuals dealing with mental health issues. I think it is like most things that we have to focus. It's like those challenging those stigmatizing language related to mental health and building relationship, respect, empathetic languages to help a student. And other thing that I think it can be meaningful. It's like fostering empathy and compassion by sharing personal stories and experiences related to mental health, because you know that personal stories can help everyone to like know he or she is not alone, who is facing those challenges. He is not alone, who is passing through those difficulties. So it's like creating like not alone thought in his or her mind. So it's like it's I think it's important to share those stories and the experience about mental health. And other thing that I can say, it's like nowadays a media platform is taking a lot of roles in shaping a mental health for students. So we have to encourage every student to be responsible from their life, being away from people who have a negative thought about their lives. They be responsible and the reporting and the presentation about mental health issues, because in media's entertainment there was a thought that stigmatize someone who is facing a mental health challenge. So we have to be like I for everyone who need help and encourage, support everyone, connect with others who have experience, who have mutual support in coping with mental health challenges, because those engaging in networking, engaging in initiatives, engaging like connecting with like minded person who have knowledge like experts about mental health, engaging in resources that speak up about mental health is a crucial in everyone's life. Last but not least, like making advocacy. When you see someone is stigmatizing anyone who have it to be like making advocacy for everyone without regardless his race, his power, his country, but advocate and share the humanity, share like nature of love and breeding confidence in pupils' life and students' life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rosafi. You've been an amazing guest on tonight's show. We're going to round it up just now. I just wanted to talk a little bit around mental health disorders. Um, we know that a mental health disorder, also known as mental disorder or mental illness, is a diagnosable health condition. A mental health disorder changes how a person thinks, feels, or behaves, as well as causing distress and disruption in a person's life. Now, untreated mental health disorders can have dangerous outcomes. These include self harm, bullying, substance abuse, and suicide in some cases. So, schools and colleges really play a critical role in preventing these outcomes. Through early detection, meeting mental health needs, education, and awareness, schools can help students have healthy, happy, and productive lives. Um, we've come to the end of our show. I want to thank Shwasafi once again for staying with us and discussing this topic. She has given us the warning signs around mental health, around mental illness. She's spoken about why students' mental health is something that we should be concerned about. I'm just reading a comment here that's coming through now. Let's see if I can see it here. It's saying here, Adigan. Oh, hi, Adigan. Nice to see you. It's strange, he says, but we just need to address this rising challenge among students. And you're absolutely right. I would love to hear more from you, Adigan. I'm not sure how to bring you in on board in the conversation, but what are your thoughts around this? Even you, Joa Safi. Why is there such a rising challenge? Why do we see this getting worse and worse as the years progress? Just before we round up the show. So, Adigan, just throw in your comment there. Why do you think that mental health is now, it's in the spotlight? And we know that it's in the spotlight because we see the statistics showing more and more people, more and more students are struggling around the area of mental health. So, what do you think could be some of the causes around this? Shrasafi, I'll throw this to you. What are the causes? Why do we see this rise?
Okay, thank you so much because about this again, engage in this conversation again. Student mental health is on the rise due to several interconnected factors. Uh, Firstly, I can say social media and technology. This social media is like a platform where someone can intervene in activities that harm him or herself, like cyberbullying, stigmatizing, as we have said, and have this platform create a several negative and severe negative effects on mental health, which can lead to anxiety and depression. So this social media and ongoing technology that is rising nowadays have a lot of impact on student mental health. Everyone he needs to look like a star that is in his or her country or all over the world. Other one needs to be like a superstar in field of medicine or field of football, entertainment, etc. So those pressures of social media cause student mental health to be analyzed. And other thing that I see is, as I said before, is like fear of missing out. We know that youth, we need to be like looking very well, looking stunning, and being appreciated with everyone, and being on the top of others in schools. Uh, so while he or she can see that his peer students are on another level, while they have been doing hard work to go to reach there, so they can think about it. So they see that engaging in activities or event they are not invited to leads to like being on pressure of being like anyone else that have mental health issues on students nowadays. And other things that I can say is like engaging in and fitting in extracurriculum activities, meeting expectation of teachers, parents, and peers, receiving high grades. In short, it's like academic pressures, because everyone need to have to succeed in her journeys of studies. So while he is seeing that he is not maintaining and fulfilling his goals or her goals, achieving his expectation can lead to burnout, can lead to anxiety, can lead to depression, can lead to loneliness. So it's like those academic pressures, those fear of missing out, social media have a lot impact on the mental health nowadays, and cause a mental health of student being analyzed due to those uh, engagement. So other is like fear of being misinterpreted or being stigmatized, because someone can face a challenge in life, and student mainly need to foster and continue to have those proud on being on the top. So fear of stigma help student to have a mental health which is not too very well. So I think that is my insight on it.
Absolutely. I love that. And I just want to circle back to something you said quite early on in the show. You talked a little bit on empathy and compassion. And now you're speaking around the stigmas and some of the challenges these students are facing from their own peers and the pressure around, trying to fit the path, the fear of missing out. But I think it's also like really important, like circling back to that empathy, compassion strand. It seems like the world has become a much colder place. People are not so kind anymore. There's this cancel culture that goes on. It's like it's almost a very unsafe space for youth to be vulnerable. And maybe my message tonight to the wider audience would be around kindness, because it costs nothing to be kind, but it takes a lot of courage to be kind. And I just want you all to know that there is no act of kindness, no matter how small, that is ever wasted. I want to thank you, Joa Sophie, for joining us this evening for tonight's show. We've got some comments that I'll read through. A lot of them that are left there are just around issues of appreciation, where Elisha is saying, amazing panelist, and I agree with him, and a very helpful topic. Precious says, great one. And Kabiru Umar says thank you for the wonderful presentations. Shrasafi, you have been amazing. And if you've only just joined in, or if you joined in while we were talking, this is the seventh GYMHA Mind Matters talk show episode designed to captivate and stimulate your mind. I am Mahmooda Khan. Tonight we spoke around why student mental health is on the rise and what we need to do um, to better address this issue. If you have any questions, if you want to reach out and talk to somebody, the team at GYMHA is always ready to speak to you. Reach out to us at this email address, jude@gymha.org. You can find us on all social media. That is GYMHA or Global Youth Mental Health Awareness. Just look out for us, find us, reach out if you need to talk. And on this note, we're going to sign out for this evening. Thank you so much, Rasafi, for being with me tonight.
Thank you so much, and stay blessed.
Okay. And on that note, we'll sign out. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a really good night.